Welcome to another edition of the CS Podcast, where you can hear interviews with special guests such as
Dale Buchanan, Tom Waddle, Pierre Desir, Brent Berry, Ed Werder,
and many others.
Too big, too strong, too fast, too good.
So be sure to subscribe and tune in to the CS Podcast on YouTube at youtube.com/ChristianRE722.
Did you not get the memo?
That's www.youtube.com/ChristianRE722 for great interviews. Be sure to check out the CS Podcast.
You are ridiculous.
Welcome back to the CS Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Shanafel, and I'm now joined by former Central Michigan offensive lineman. He'll be trying out for the Atlanta Falcons in their rookie minicamp coming up very soon. He's Kevin Henry. Thanks for taking some time to chat today, Kevin. How's everything going?
Well, first off, thanks for having me, Chris, and everything's going really good. Just kind of getting last-minute things in order before I leave on Thursday, so.
Hey, sounds great. Sounds great. Definitely best of luck on your tryout with the Atlanta Falcons. And I see that throughout your time at Central Michigan, you started 30 games, most of those coming from the past two seasons. From 2010, which was your redshirt year, through 2012, you were able to play with offensive tackle Eric Fisher, who ended up being the #1 overall pick to the Chiefs in 2013. What are some things you were able to bounce off of Fisher? What were some things you were able to learn from him? And what kind of buzz, if any, did that bring to Central Michigan, having him go number 1 overall?
I was able to learn a lot from him. Just not so much bouncing things off him, but just watching the way he handled himself and the way that he played was really beneficial to me. I was able to learn so much off that. And then he was always there to correct you and help you as well. And he just brought a huge buzz around Central, and not having the #1 overall pick come from Mac school, that's kind of a big deal. And it was just an awesome experience. He's a great guy. He was one of my best friends when he was there. So I love the kid.
And of course, I believe you just mentioned it. He was the first person coming from a MAC school to go #1 overall in the NFL draft. If I were to tell you that when you were a redshirt freshman, if I were to tell you that once your time was up at Central Michigan that you would get a shot in the NFL, what would you say to me?
Obviously that's the goal. That's what I've been. That's the reason we play college football. But coming from a MAC school, it's kind of. Central over the past few years, he's put a lot of offensive linemen in the NFL. So I guess I wouldn't be too shocked, but there would still be some sort of shock factor to it.
And when did you realize that the NFL may not only be a dream, but it could become a reality? I mean, was there a specific moment, maybe a game? Was there a specific moment when you realized that, man, maybe I really do have a shot at playing at the next level?
It was kind of right around the time Fisher was getting drafted. It kind of, because the same year we had another offensive lineman who's still in the Lions, Darren Keaton, and he was one of those guys that just got a tryout for rookie minicamp, and he's been on the Lions for three years now. So it was right around that time. It was kind of like it's possible. If you put in the work that these two guys have done, then you'll have the opportunity. And that's kind of the mentality I had, and I've been able to get my opportunity coming up this weekend.
And I know that the draft process is a long one, and it consists of so much working out, getting ready for your pro day and whatnot. Where have you been training it?
I was training before my pro day. I was out in New Jersey at a place called Parabolic with the guru Brian Martin, and I was out there before my pro day, and then after pro day, I was at school training with the guys. They're going through the same thing as me, staying in shape, doing all that kind of stuff, just waiting for an opportunity.
And can you take us through some of the activities that they would put you through? Do you feel that they made you a better football player at the end of the day?
Yeah, basically we're going 2 times a day, 6 days a week. We'd have our speed stuff in the morning, and then we'd lift in the afternoon, and Mondays and Saturdays They brought in a guy named Donnie Klein and Billy Ard, former guard for the Giants, and we was just working on offensive line drills, basically correcting the things that I knew that we knew based on watching film that I needed to work on, that teams would question on my game, and we were able to work on that. So at the end of the day, it made me a way better football player. I would recommend going out to New Jersey and Parabolic. To me, it's probably the best place in the country.
Former Central Michigan offensive lineman who will be trying out for the Atlanta Falcons, Kevin Henry, joining the CS podcast. And obviously it would have been nice to be drafted, but at the end of the day, as you know, you just need an opportunity. So what was your reaction to receiving that phone call informing you that you've been invited to try out for the Atlanta Falcons?
Oh man, it was ecstatic. I was with a bunch of my family and friends. Obviously, throughout the whole process, you hear so many different things. Like people were saying, he could slide late rounds or whatever, and then all of a sudden, nothing happens, and then free agent period comes and nothing happens. So it's kind of, overall, it's kind of a crazy process. But I got my opportunity, and the way I think of it is that everybody has their own path to the NFL, and this is mine, and I embraced it right away. And this is just, I'm just so excited for this opportunity. Coming up this weekend, and it's just, once in a lifetime, something I've been dreaming about since I was 5. So, it was kind of a dream come true when I got that phone call.
I couldn't even imagine. Were you surprised that you did go undrafted, though, or was this something that you kind of expected?
It was something I expected, I guess. Towards when the draft process first started, I was thinking, undrafted, free agent, and then after my pro day, I had a really good pro day. I ended up put up, the fastest 40 out of all the offensive linemen in the country, and then all my other times and stuff would have been, top 3 out of all the guys that did get the combine invite. So I was hearing a lot of buzz about, dropping late rounds and stuff like that. So it was kind of surprising, but at the same time, it wasn't.
What kind of advice would you give anybody entering the 2016 NFL draft? I mean, is there anything that you ran into during your process that kind of caught you off guard or anything?
I would just say stay patient, because it's a totally different process than, when you're coming from high school to go to college, because at that time, every school and everybody's telling you how much they want you, and unless you're one of probably the top first-round picks, it's kind of quiet, and teams aren't really trying to give too much away because they don't want to tell other teams, how interested they are in you, because then that gives you leverage. So I would just stay patient. It's a great process, but it's a crazy process, and it's all worth it in the end.
Once again, former Central Michigan offensive lineman Kevin Henry joining the CS podcast. He'll be trying out for the Atlanta Falcons coming up, I believe, this weekend. Is that right, Kevin?
That is correct.
So what do you feel separates you from the next guy? I mean, what separates you from the other offensive linemen in this draft class? What separates you from the other offensive linemen that the Falcons are going to be bringing in? What are you going to have to do to make the team? What do you feel you're going to have to do?
One of the things that I think separates me is I come from that pro-style offense, very similar to what a lot of the NFL teams run. So I believe that when rookie camp starts, I'll have a leg up on some of the guys, because the playbook will be very similar to what I've ran for the past 5 years. Also, my skill set. I'm very quick. I'm very fast. I'm able to shock some defenders with my speed, and I think that's going to help me and benefit me come this weekend.
And obviously, it's not going to be an easy transition, playing with the best of the best, going up against some of the best. But what do you anticipate will be the hardest part about transitioning from the college game to the pros?
Probably the speed of the game. That was my biggest. That's everything. You always hear about the speed of the game is so much different. So I'm kind of anticipating that being the biggest challenge for me, but at the same time, I'm a fast guy. I'm quick, so I think I'll be able to adjust accordingly.
You report to the Atlanta Falcons rookie mini camp this weekend. Are you going in with a chip on your shoulder? I mean, being undrafted, are you going with something to prove?
Yes, 100%. I have to. I mean, I didn't sign a contract or anything, so I'm going in there with the chip on my shoulder. I've got to earn my spot on that roster. I've got to take somebody else's spot, and that's the mentality I'm going in. Every team in this draft passed on an opportunity to draft me, and the Falcons gave me an opportunity to come in. And, I'm going to prove to everybody else, every other team in the league, what I've got, and especially the Falcons. I'm going to show them, what I'm made of.
Hey, that sounds great, Kevin. I'm definitely wishing you all the best with your tryout with the Falcons. I'm happy to hear that a team gave you an opportunity and now you're about to run away with it. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your busy day to chat. I really appreciate it, man. All the best.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.